I think the concept of green economy has for most be inclusive. That means it's not a sectoralized strategy. To be honest, in Germany, when you talk about green economy, people think of windmills and of solar panels. So this subsidized renewable energy sector. But this is wrong. Green economy has to be inclusive, all open to all sectors and to all participants in the market. Now, we do not have a symmetric market that allows everybody a fair access. So we have to improve access to the market. And that's where microfinance and microinsurance concepts come in. I think they're very important because they allow people access to markets that are, as of now, excluded from markets. The baseline is, of course, you have to accept that markets are good. But once you accept that there are markets and it's good to have access, then microfinance and micro insurance concepts are good. And we even in Germany, we're trying to establish microfinancing accesses because lots of people are applying for small money and they're denied by the big banks. So we have to come up with some new solutions even in Germany. Leave alone countries where the microfinancing is part of an instrument to eradicate poverty. So I'm very much behind this concept.
คุณชิเวง please yep
topic
You
of
can't-
green economy.
right
so I
you
think
continue
I
on
would
green economy, right? It's very interesting for
You're after me.
microfinance, please.
Okay. The Global Environment Outlook, which is now just starting its preparation process, has set a goal of trying to identify policies that will accelerate achievement of the multilateral environment agreements, the globally agreed goals. And there's been a high-level panel has identified 26 of those goals as being the key goals to achieve over the next few decades. That has been extracted from something like 500 to 700 multilateral environment agreements. So you can see that it's a highly selective set of goals. But then the question that has been posed to the authors of the Global Environment Outlook is how do you identify policies that will accelerate the achievement of those goals? And the dilemma, I think, is how do you measure firstly the degree to which a specific policy contributes to a goal, and then secondly, how do you measure the pace of achievement of those goals? Do you have any wise words in relation to that?
No, but I have a third question. For me, it's a question: what is success?
Yeah, exactly.
And who would benchmark the success? If I were a private company, I would cut all these big objectives down to annual processes and progress that has been to be made. But if I am the UN, I draw a big picture of a very good objective with no steps to be met in the midterm. So the question is success, and I mean this was also the case for Copenhagen. If we all go for the one and only solution of a big international treaty, we do not have any success. But once you step one step back and say, oh well, climate change scientists tell me we do not have another 10 years for a ratification period. So what does it mean? That does mean that I have to rethink about success. about the criteria for success. And at the end of the day, if this would have been the baseline for the negotiations, we would have an agreement on national goals, on the interjunction of national goals, of kind of an IP address for national mitigation efforts. Like you connect your computer to the internet by IP addresses. You could connect your national mitigation efforts to a whole of the planetary thing through a link. That kind of thing is, for me, essential when I talk about achievement of agreements, when I talk about success. It's not only breaking it down, it's also redesigning the essence of success. So sorry for confusing the thing more, but
We came up with the same conclusion.
Okay.
No targets to those goals, and therefore they were not measurable.
Are you happy with the collective effort efficiency, right? But it's very hard subject anyway. Could you Wang, please?
Allow me to deviate from the subject of measurement. Dr. Bachmann, you have referred to the target objective of the United Nations on green economy and the poverty eradication. Recently, there are much talk about buying local, especially to avoid buying long-distance foods and all that. Could you elaborate more whether this will also benefit poverty eradication, and whether this will not becoming protectionism, and that will impair the poverty eradication program? Thank you.
Well, another big question. Thank you for the question. I mean, this trade-off between being in a globalized world and buying global, and living in the region and buying regionally, this trade-off is not being solved yet, and I think it's not solvable. But I see trends. At least in Europe, there is a trend to redirect consumption to the local and regional level to a certain extent. I mean, big retailers are now opening regional areas within their retail service where they're offering regional products. But this is, I mean, less than being a self-selling item. But for the sustainable consumption and production patterns, I think we have to think about regional connection between those who are producing food and those who are consuming food. And we have to reconnect them. Because the feeling of the people towards the value of food comes with the region. But you're making your point is correct. This should not contradict access to trade, of course. As we live in a globalized world, the world is hot, flat, and crowded, according to Thomas Friedman. I think we will never, ever reduce the standards of the globalized markets. But still, we could do more to eradicate poverty when, that's what I'm saying as a European, when we redesign our common agriculture policies. I mean, this is key, not the regional thing. The key is the common agriculture policies in Europe, and to make them fit into what is needed on the global market. The deliberations about the CAP, the Common Agriculture Policy, begin this year, and in 2013 we have to have a new regime for the CAP. I think this is essential. And that goes along with the discussion of the European financial perspective. That's the European budget for the next 5-year period. And this again is something that comes under the scrutiny of sustainable development.
Yeah, I think we have a question